Think about it. You could be 6 steps away from your dreams. But wait, think again. Because research shows you probably are only 2 steps away from achieving your dreams. Well, I'm Dr. Dave Martin, your success coach, and this week on the show, we're going to continue our series called Connecting the Dots, and I'm going to talk to you about the 6 degrees strategy, how you can unlock your next opportunity a lot quicker than you think. Discover the surprising power of those weak ties, and then learn how to activate your network. That's what we've been talking about. Start seeing how close you are to really living the life that you've always wanted. All that's happening today on The Dave Martin Show. Hey, this is Dr. Dave. Welcome back. Hey, today's show is going to be, I think it's going to be really helpful to you. If you missed last week, we started a series called Connect the Dots, Connecting the Dots. And it's all about the power of networking. So maybe go back and catch that one. If you didn't, I promise you there's just some basic things in there you'll want to get that will help you. And if you're tuning in today, I believe, get ready because we're about to completely change how you see opportunity. Okay? Again, I'm always trying to shift people's thinking, shift their mindsets. Here's the big idea. You are closer to your next breakthrough than you think you are. You say, it seems so far away from me. Most people think success is about who they know, but really it's about who they know. Did you catch that? People think, it's about who you know. It's about who they know. No, it's about who they know. I'm going to help you understand that. We're going to talk about the 6 degree strategy. It's how 1 or 2 introductions could really open the door to everything you've been praying for, planning for, pushing for. So you're going to learn how to activate the 2nd and 3rd degree. We're going to talk about the 6 degrees, but the 2nd and 3rd degree connections. I'm going to talk to you today for a little bit about weak ties, about those dormant ties, those weak ties, and how they could be your greatest asset. And then some simple action steps to start making all those connections begin to happen. All right. So let's just dive in. It's a small world after all. Remember that? It's a small world after all. You ever been to Disney, that ride? You don't go on it. It just, for the rest of the day, it just won't get out of your head. I think they've got some kind of something in there. But anyway, you probably heard of the 6 degrees of separation, the theory that there's only 6 that you're only 6 relationships away from anyone in the world. Now, the concept was originally set out in about 1929. It was a short story, which a group of people played this game trying to connect any person in the world to themselves by a chain of 6 people. You know someone who knows 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 anyone in the world. And then it became popular in the 1990s, a play that was on Broadway, different places, 6 degrees of separation. But it's the idea that all people are just 6 or fewer social connections away from anybody else. And as a result of that chain, you ever heard a friend of a friend? You know, that statement, a friend of a friend. They can make the connect that any 2 people in a maximum of 6 steps will know each other or can connect with each other. And it's that simple. Some people call it the 6 handshake rule. Mathematically, I was looking at this. Mathematically, it means that a person shaking hands with 30 people and then those 30 people shaking hands with 30 other people, what after you do that 6 times, 30 people with 30 people with 30 people, allows every person in the population of the world to have shaken hands. It's pretty incredible. That's where you get, boy, it's a small world, isn't it? Well, guess what? Thanks to technology and social media, I think it's probably not even 6 degrees of separation anymore. It's probably like 3 or 4 degrees of separation. I think the number just keeps getting smaller and smaller every day. So now you're not just 6 steps away from greatness. You're just 2 or 3 steps away from greatness. I can tell you, How many times have you got on Facebook or reached out to someone on Facebook, and then you know how you can see friends and you see mutual friends, and then you're like, oh, they know, how did they know each other? Or you see someone like their thing, and you're like, all of a sudden, you're like, this world is just connected. And whether I meet someone or hear what they're working on or what they're building, inevitably, I can immediately think of someone that they need to know. They'll start telling me what they're doing. I'm like, I know someone who does that. Sitting on a plane, met a guy, and I'm like, I know who you need to meet. The other day, university looking for a basketball coach. We got to find a basketball coach. I go, wait, I know a basketball coach and so I called him halfway across the country, connected him with the president of this university, and all of a sudden, see, I heard someone had a need. I knew someone who needed that, and made a connection. So your next opportunity could be just sitting one or two introductions away. Who do you know that can help you get to where you want to go? Or who do they know that could help you get to where you want to go? Who do you know that is already where you want to be? That's a good question. Every person you meet has a role in the life that you live. Relationships matter. Some of the greatest opportunities, actually, every one of the opportunities that I've had in my life came from a relationship, a connection, connecting dots. I want you to start seeing every person in your life as a potential, not just connection, but a connector. Every person in your life is a possible connector, not just a contact. So let's talk about our first degree connections. Remember we said 6 degrees so let's talk about the first degree, and then we'll talk about kind of the hidden power in that second and third degree connection. I think are vital. But you got the first degree connections, your close friends, your family, your coworkers that you work with every day. They're great, but here's the thing: they usually already know the same people you know, right? There's not many people they don't know that you know. The real opportunity comes when you get past the first degree and you get to that second and third degree connections, people that you don't know yet, but are just one handshake away from you knowing. I mean, think about it. Your friend's college roommate might be the CEO you've been trying to meet. All of a sudden, you're like, no way. You went to school with him? You know him? That is crazy. I've been trying to meet him. All of a sudden, you make a connection. A friend of mine, pastors in an area where one of my old best friends now owns a bunch of McDonald's, and I connected them, church, and that McDonald's, and they helped do some things and reach the community and all that kind of stuff. An old relationship with a new relationship. I'm like, you guys are in the same area. Let me connect you. You see, your cousin's pastor might know a publisher that you need for your new book. I have a friend wrote a book, wasn't a friend, didn't know her, but when I met her, found out she had written a book. I said, I know who you need to talk to. Made a connection, and they ended up publishing her book. So you never know who that connection might be. Your coworker's neighbor might be the investor that you need that has the funds for your next business. I'm closer to some of those that I was introduced to by just one, first degree relationship than I am with the person that introduced us to each other. Does that make sense? So you never know how that connection is going to develop or grow over time. So when you meet someone, don't just think about what they can do for you. Think about who they might know. Who do they know that you need to know? I met a friend of mine. Goodness, it's a long story. There's a friend of mine I lost contact with, and so we kind of the degrees of separation went down the way a little bit. But then another friend of mine that it was a newer relationship was buying a house in the area on the other side of the country. I lived in Florida. This was in California. Bought a condo out there. Was having his cable put in. The cable guy said, I want to introduce you to somebody. Introduces them to this other guy. They get talking. Somehow my name comes up. How my name comes up. They go, I haven't talked to him in 7 years. He goes, well, he's coming out next month. You guys should get together. So my friend calls me and says, you know your friend? Yeah, I haven't talked to him in years. He goes, what? He wants to have lunch when you're out here. All of a sudden, I go out there. We have lunch. He makes one connection. We read that dormant tie that now had been a 2 or 3 degrees separation. Now a cable guy that was just putting cable in for a friend brings this connection back together. And all of a sudden now, all these things have opened up in my career because of that dormant relationship that was a 2 or 3 degrees separation brings it all together. It's crazy how this whole thing works. And so when you understand the power of those weak ties, most people think their closest friends are going to be the ones that open up the biggest doors. But research tells us that's not the way it is. Research tells us those loose acquaintances, sometimes that you barely know, are often put together the biggest opportunities that you're going to have. Maybe it's that friend that you haven't talked to in a few years, like I just talked to, that moved away. And all of a sudden, I've reconnected. Now, dormant ties and weak ties are great. That's why I told you, I think last week, to reach out to 3 or 4 people, 5 people that you haven't talked to in a long time. It's easy. You say, I have a hard time networking. I have a hard time meeting new people. Well, maybe it's a roommate from college that you haven't talked to in a few years. You reach out, you reconnect. It's not hard to reconnect because you already have a relationship. And now they've moved to another area where they know a whole nother group of people. So now you've brought your circle and that circle together, and all their relationships are now connected to all these relationships, and new opportunities arise. So here's why you got to move past your close friends. Like I said, move in the same circles that you do. Those weak ties move in different circles you can't even see yet. I was coaching a guy a few years ago, and he couldn't get a meeting with investors for his startup. And he had spent months and months cold calling, meeting with people, meeting with investors, direct messaging people on LinkedIn, and nothing was happening. Then one day, he just put a post about it on his social media and on his Facebook or something. He'd been doing LinkedIn, all those things, and then on social media, an old college acquaintance he hadn't spoken to in years says, "Hey, I got a buddy who invests in startups. I need to connect you guys." All of a sudden, he's brought an intro, brought a connection together. Boom, that introduction turned into a $500,000 investment in this guy's company. He'd been trying everywhere, all the things he knew to try on LinkedIn and all those things, meeting with people, nothing. But puts it on social media. A weak link, an old college roommate, knew an investor, put them together, and he was one introduction away. Just one introduction away from success. Just one weak tie away. The key was he had to reach out to those that he knew. How many weak ties do you have, maybe that need to be strengthened? Not so weak. That weak tie became a pretty strong tie really quick. It changed his life. So reach out, like I said, to 5 people that you haven't talked to in over a year. Let's just say, let's do it this way this week. Let's find 5 people you haven't talked to in over a year and reconnect with them. Catch up a little bit. Send a text, make a call, plant a seed, see where it goes. All right? Let's get practical for a minute here. Here's how you can put this into action today. All right? Number 1, make your network visible. Make your network visible. Make a list of 10 people you know. All right, this will be fun. Make a list of 10 people you know, friends, co-workers, church members, someone you go to church with, your neighbor, just 10 people you know. And then next to those 10 people, I want you to write down someone who they know that you don't know, okay? So you got your 10 people that you know, and then write down someone that they know that you don't know. All of a sudden, you'll look and you'll be amazed. Maybe write down 2 or 3 people. Maybe there's 2 or 3 people you think, man, they know this person, that person. I don't know this person. All of a sudden, you'll see how quickly and how big. That's how you make your network visible. So list those 10 that you do know, and then list a couple, 2 or 3 people that they each know. And all of a sudden you see, man, my network is pretty big. It's a pretty visible network. So that's how you can start seeing how this whole thing works. Second thing, real practical thing to do, ask the right questions. I think so often we go to networking events, we meet people, we ask the wrong questions. Magic word. A mentor of mine taught me this. John Maxwell taught me this years ago. Who do you know? He said, always ask people, who do you know that I need to know? Who do you know that I need to know? And it could be in a casual conversation. It could be at an event. It could be over coffee. Who do you know that I need to know? That's one of his legacy statements, and he's put it in his heart to take some people to meet people he knows. So he just began a thing called the Master Class, and I'm excited to be part of the very first inaugural group. I think it's going to take off. People are going to be like, how do I get into that? And it's something that I've done as well. I call it behind the scenes, BTS. Let me take you behind the scenes. Let me introduce you to some people you wouldn't be able to meet without me. Who do you know that I need to know? And so John's like, I'm going to take a small group of people to meet some people that I know that I think they need to know. And I tell you what, in those kind of settings, it won't just be the person we're going to meet. Like one of them is we're going to go meet the CEO of Delta Airlines. Well, I need to know him anyway because, well, he needs to know me. I'm one of his best clients. But but it'll be the people that John brings in the room as well. Those will be some people I need to know. And we'll need to know each other. And so understand the power of that question. Who do you know that I need to know? And then I encourage you, activate some of those weak ties. Reconnect with some people you've lost touch with. The opportunity you're looking for is just oftentimes sitting inside a relationship that you forgot about. So some of those dormant ties, those weak ties. And then I would encourage you to use social media. I think social media is an incredible tool, but use it wisely. Some people just waste their whole day on there looking at this, looking at that. You see what John's doing? Hey, did you see Mary and Sue are going on vacation over here? Hey, did you see that this UFO landed on? They're just wasting their time looking at a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. Use it wisely. Look at who your friends are. One of the first things I do is I look at mutual friends. Who do they know that I need to know? Someone started following me, reached out to me the other day on Instagram. So I immediately went to their Instagram and I said, okay, who do they follow? And I looked and said, okay, they follow so-and-so, and they followed them back. Okay, so I reached out to that person. I said, you know this guy? Oh yeah, great guy. And so all of a sudden I've used it to make a connection. So I use it. Get onto LinkedIn. If you see someone you want to meet, ask for an introduction. I'll do that. I've been wanting to connect with this guy. See, you guys are friends. You're always coming. Yeah, we're great friends. You know what? I'll do a group chat, a group text, and get you guys hooked up together. You guys need to know each other. My good friend Jordan Montgomery, great friend, did that for me the other day. Another guy, Ryan Pineda, does a great Kingdom conference in Las Vegas, and so Jordan said, you know what, you guys do need to know each other. He made a connection, and now we're connected because I saw you know him and you know him, and you guys need to know each other. All right, I hope that makes sense. And then this is good. Well, I just said you Jordan did this, and I do this all the time. Be the connector of others. Be the connector. One of the fastest ways to grow your network is to help other people grow their network. I make introductions very freely. I'm not trying to, listen, I know some people try to hold on to all their contacts. I don't want to share I'm wide open with my contacts. I make introductions very freely. I add value first, and trust me, it always comes back around. I've lived my life by this principle, and it has paid off time and time again. If I know someone you need to know, I'm going to be very, very easy example. Years ago, I went to meet a friend of mine who worked for a very well-known man. I went in, and while I'm sitting there to see her, I meet him. He happened to be in the office that day. This is, goodness, 30 years ago, maybe, something like that. And he's going to be in Jacksonville, Florida, and he has this going on, and he needs a meeting on this evening in Jacksonville, Florida. And I said, well, you know what? I know a guy in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, I didn't know this gentleman that I just met, but I knew another guy in Jacksonville. And so I called him. I said, hey, have you ever heard of this guy? I'd never really even heard of this guy. Well-known guy, but I'd never heard of him. And so he goes, oh, man, I love that guy. Read all of his books. I said, he's looking for a meeting to speak somewhere on this day in Jacksonville. Would you want to have me? He goes, man, I'd love to have him. I said, okay, I think I can make it happen. So I go back in the room. I said, hey, I've got a friend who is in Jacksonville who I would love to have you come and speak for him. And the guy's like, and who are you? All of a sudden, I made a connection, and now at first he wasn't that interested in who I was in the room, but now I've done something. I've added some value. And he's like, who are you? So we get to talking a little bit. Well, I ended up going to work for the guy and worked for him for several years. And at the end, the very last thing he did was he sent a letter to 1,500 people saying, hey, if you're looking for a good speaker, here's someone you should look at. And send him my name and my information. I made one connection for him 30 years ago, and several years later, it turned it into 1,500 opportunities and connections for me. So I didn't do it for that purpose. When I made that connection, all I was trying to do was help my friend in Jacksonville. I'm like, man, he might like this guy and help this guy who I didn't really even know, but he needed something, and I knew someone that might could help him. Never thought for a minute, if I do this, man, he'll put my name out there to a whole bunch of people. I did it, not expecting anything in return, just connecting two people. But I'm telling you, Zig Ziglar used to say it this way, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll always end up with what you want. So I just don't think that how others can benefit me. I think, how can I benefit them? How can I add value to them? Or who do I know that could benefit them? So when you help others, you'll be amazed at how it's reciprocated back to you. Well, I just gave you a few strategies. What'd I give you? Five, six strategies there. Just pick one of them. Just pick one of them today and take some action on it. Make a move this week and see what happens. We all have those moments where we feel like we just aren't getting any closer to our dreams. We aren't getting where we want to be. Nothing's happening. We feel stuck. And I'm here to tell you today that you are so much closer than you think you are. Talked to someone the other day, looking for a job. Just can't find a job. I said, put it on your Facebook. They're doing LinkedIn. They're doing all the reach outs through LinkedIn and through the communities and putting their resume up. I'm like, put it up on your Facebook. Put it up on their Facebook, and all of a sudden, within a couple of hours, had 2 new opportunities come up through some relationships. So, and I think LinkedIn is great. I'm not saying it's not great. I'm just saying you're closer than you think you are. What do you have in your hand, right? Or in this case, what do you have in your network? What do you have in your network? So you're not as far away as you think you are. You're not as stuck as you think you are. You're just one introduction, one text message, one DM. Maybe you need to drop in someone's DMs today. one reconnection away from your breakthrough. So here's what I want you to do today. Don't just collect the dots, connect the dots. All right? Hey, I hope this helped you. Thanks for joining me. Don't miss next week right here on the podcast. It's going to be great. We're going to continue in this series. I don't know how long we'll go in this series, but if it's helping you, comment down below. Let me see your comment. Let me see how it's helped you. Let me see you've learned something from it. Shoot me an email back. Tell me what you're getting out of this series, and I'll know if I should keep going. If I get enough answers back from you, I'll keep going another week. We'll keep talking about it because I think it's going to help you get to where you want to be and live the life that you've always dreamed. How to make the rest of your life the best of your life. See you next week.